those of you that are into astrology have probably guessed why I titled the video with the word surprises, meaning there might be Uranian energy involved, and indeed it is because of the planet Uranus and the fact that it correlates most explicitly with surprises that can be also unexpected and even shocking. And indeed, we experienced this last year in correlation with Uranus, especially in the early summer period when there was a major assassination attempt and a change in the Democratic candidates. And so now Uranus, because of its 84-year cycle, what it'll do in its forward and retrograde motion is that it'll cover the same degrees more than once. And so, to make a long story short, Uranus is still in play, and all the more so when this month, on the 30th, it stations at 23¼ degrees Taurus, which puts it well within range of the American moon, which means it affects everyone as a result. And when you're looking at a station, the exact day before, day after, in other words, the closer to it, the more intense. However, you also have to add at least a week on either side, often a little more, to cover the span of the effect of the station. So we're in that range now until at least mid-February. And it turns out that this station happens to be very strongly related to Trump's chart. Now, I realize that when it comes to unexpected surprises, probably everyone or nearly everyone watching this video would hope for a shocking event, something, anything that would change the inauguration on Monday, change it away from having a GOP administration led by the Orange Menace. I think that's pretty unlikely at this point, so I think we need to look for other effects that might be interesting and important. And so there's where I focus primarily on two of the most important players in this drama. They would be the incoming president himself and the man who some think is like a co-president, Elon Musk. And so if I cover him first, quickly, I would say that his chart is not in nearly the same or at the same level of stress as Trump's, not even close. However, he appears to be on somewhat of an upswing, in the sense that even though he is in conflict with the big MAGA following because they despise immigration and globalism, which he's solidly behind, Trump did back him in that respect, and there is pretty strong rumor that he even has his own office at the White House. And so he appears to be in pretty good shape, and yet February is really challenging because of what Saturn is doing. It's squaring his Venus. It's a difficult month. After that, it does improve, maybe not right away in early March, but at some point in there, it improves. He has challenges later in the year. But main point here is that the swath of time that is really challenging is relatively short. When it comes to Trump, though, we're talking about at least until April. It is very, very challenging. Beyond that, it continues, but especially if we take the Uranus energy into account, I would say it is sooner than later that it is most, let us call it, gravely dangerous. Because the Uranus station that is happening now, in addition to what Saturn, Neptune, and Eris especially are doing at the same time, creating other intense pressures in the chart. The Uranus station links to the very same thing by the way it's aspecting his natal moon in a 150-degree aspect. All these patterns point to the 8th house, either because there's something there doing the aspect, or because when you talk about a 150 anywhere in the chart, you immediately get that 8th house flavor. And I'll leave it to you to go online and research. Just type in Google somewhere, other search engine, type 8th house meanings and just read, and you'll see, that it's a difficult house, difficult part of the chart, without question. So this is what he's facing, and there is we'll call it the grave danger, which is to his health and well-being, basically. But to the extent that he is able to sidestep this, then the aspects are still there. What that means is that it really, really diminishes his effectiveness over the first part of his presidency, the famous 100 days, due to all that tricky planetary energy. And so then his ability to accomplish anything significant diminishes a lot, and the possibility of making big mistakes increases as well. So all of that is in play simultaneously, but in the meantime we have this station correlating with the unexpected to watch out for, and noticing that another station that is taking place in early February is the station of Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is, by all accounts, the planet that helped him into the presidency, and you can gauge this by noticing that Jupiter, until it got into Gemini, his sun sign, things were not going well. Jupiter was in Taurus, the previous sign, from late May of 23 until late May of 24. And during that whole time, things were not going well. Indeed, in May of 24 he was in court, he was being convicted, things were not going well. Once Jupiter entered Gemini, his fortunes improved significantly. Slowly but surely, things got better. In fact, the July 13th attempt on his life probably was helped, or was offset by the fact that Jupiter was already in his sign. Now it's stationing in early February, but I noticed that the degrees where it is stationing, they're not good. They're not good, because whenever you see Jupiter doing any of the either 2, 4, 8, any of those harmonics, it irritates and can become more of a problem than a solution, or than something that helps you. This is because while his Jupiter is very strong, he was born in a very stationary Jupiter condition, within a couple of hours of a station, and ruling the 5th house is great, makes it a really good planet, but it rules the 8th, and the 8th is the 8th, like I said earlier in this video. So that links the Jupiter also to this whole situation. So, long story short, mid-January to mid-February at minimum is very, very risky territory. And I'll leave it at that for now, though of course I'll be covering more of this as we see what actually happens.